Welcome back to Ronin Recap. Now on to the next chapter.
While everyone was chatting, Lin Fan and Qin Yuxuan continued to walk forward unhurriedly. Someone in the crowd then pointed to a place not far away and exclaimed, "Guys, look! There's a supercar over there. What a cool sports car! It looks like a Lamborghini." Everyone gasped in admiration. "That's the Lamborghini I told you about," Hu Jinsong said. "My BMW is just next to it." "Huh? Why is Lin Fan walking toward the Lamborghini?" someone asked. "I think Lin Fan wants to take some photos," Wang Haoqi said. "Take photos? Why is he doing something so embarrassing?" "Qin Yuxuan is right beside him," someone else said. "Lin Fan won't just take photos." Yang Wenshu sneered. "Maybe he'll even go over and touch it. In the future, he'll tell others that he once touched a Lamborghini. Just like how he used to pursue after me shamelessly. I don't know where he heard some private information about me, but he actually dared to talk nonsense and say that I was the one pursuing him." Hearing this, Du Lei's expression became even calmer. He patted Yang Wenshu's waist and said, "Wenshu, I don't believe his nonsense." "Look, Lin Fan is really walking to the side of the Lamborghini," someone said. "It's more than that. He's touching the door handle. Let's see what he'll do when the car owner sees him." At this point, everyone's faces were full of ridicule. At the same time, they looked around, hoping that the car owner would appear soon. Hu Jinsong stopped in his tracks. He wanted to see this scene as well. However, in the next moment, everyone's faces froze. It was because Lin Fan opened the car door of the Lamborghini and got in with Qin Yuxuan. In the end, the Lamborghini let out a deep roar and quickly disappeared from the parking lot. Silence. The entire place was silent. Everyone was dumbstruck. The primary upload of this chapter happened on N0V3. N0V3 L equals B, J, N. Lin Fan actually drove the Lamborghini? That car was his? Did he not only earn a few thousand yuan a month? What was going on? Wang Haoqi laughed coldly. Lin Fan is such a hypocrite. He actually rented a car to attend the class reunion. This must have cost him a month or two of his salary, right? He wanted to look well off for the class reunion. As soon as he said that, a look of realization appeared on everyone's faces. That's right. He rented that Lamborghini. Lin Fan came from a very average family. He could not afford a Lamborghini at all. At the thought of this, the contemptuous look on everyone's faces became even more intense. Ring, ring, ring. At this moment, Hu Jinsong's phone started ringing. "Hu Jinsong, where did the photo of the watch you just sent me come from?" Xiao Bo's muffled voice sounded from the other end. "Oh, that watch?" Hu Jinsong laughed. "It's my old classmate's watch." Speaking up to this point, Hu Jinsong immediately turned on the speaker. He wanted to show off his connections to his classmates. At the same time, he wanted to use more evidence to prove that Lin Fan's Lamborghini was a rented one. After all, it was impossible for a person who wore an imitation watch to own a Lamborghini. F***CK. You're awesome. Xiao Bo's voice on the phone immediately became extremely excited. What's wrong? Hu Jinsong asked, puzzled. That watch is Vacheron Constantin Tour de Lille, and there are only 7 of them in the world. Now, the price of each one is at least 10 million. Moreover, there's demand but no supply. Your classmate is so awesome. He actually owns this watch. Xiao Bo's voice became more and more excited over the phone. Silence. The entire venue was in silence once again. A watch worth tens of millions. Everyone's breathing stopped. One could rent a Lamborghini. However, there were only 7 of those watches in the world, and each one was worth tens of millions. It was absolutely impossible to rent it. The only answer was that the watch and the Lamborghini both belonged to Lin Fan. Lin Fan was the living embodiment of the god of wealth. He was not pretending at all. Everyone looked in the direction that the Lamborghini had left with complicated expressions and different thoughts. Among them, Yang Wenshu and Hu Jinsong had the most complicated feelings. Yang Wenshu was filled with regret. If she had been a little braver in high school, she might have been able to become Lin Fan's girlfriend. She would have married into a rich family. Hu Jinsong was still in a state of shock. He recalled how he had casually juggled the Vacheron Constantine Tour de Lille earlier, and his little heart trembled in fear. It would have been a nightmare if he accidentally damaged the Vacheron Constantine Tour de Lille. Qin Yuxuan, who was sitting in the Lamborghini, looked around curiously. Lamborghini Aventador, she said with a sweet smile. It's worth 10 million yuan in the country. I've never sat in such an expensive car before. My dear classmate, you've really spoiled me today. Thanks. This isn't the most expensive car you've ever taken. After all, any subway would cost a few hundred million, Lin Fan said. That seems to be the case. Qin Yuxuan laughed. Instantly, her impression of Lin Fan improved. He kept a low profile but had an interesting personality, which was really rare. Then, Qin Yuxuan started to observe Lin Fan even more closely. He had a strong body, was fit, and was fashionable too. Qin Yuxuan could not help but compare him to when he was in high school. The impression she had of Lin Fan back in high school was that he was a young and handsome man. The current Lin Fan had a mature manliness on top of his good looks. Qin Yuxuan seemed to have realized that she had been staring at Lin Fan for too long and that it was a little rude. Her face turned red. Lin Fan, what are you planning to do later? After sending you home, I'm going back to the hotel to sleep, Lin Fan said. You're staying in a hotel? Qin Yuxuan asked. Yes, I'm temporarily staying in a hotel, Lin Fan said. Qin Yuxuan thought for a moment and said, it's late in the night now. Why don't we go for supper? I know a good place. Lin Fan could not help but look at Qin Yuxuan with a strange look. Supper? Did she not say that she had something to do at home later? Qin Yuxuan seemed to have thought of this as well, and her face, which had just returned to normal, blushed again. At the restaurant earlier, Lin Fan was practically left alone in a corner. No one talked to him at all. Therefore, Lin Fan was eating non-stop. At this moment, his stomach was already slightly bulging. However, it would be a little boring to go back to the hotel directly. All right, you can point me in the right direction, he replied. All right. Qin Yuxuan said happily. Before long, they arrived at a restaurant, Miss. Miss was a restaurant located on the riverbank. It was really nice to be able to sit inside and enjoy the scenery of the river while eating delicious food. Lin Fan ordered some skewers, scallops, and buns. How's your alcohol tolerance? Lin Fan asked. I can drink a little, Qin Yuxuan said. Then, I'll have a bottle of Ace of Spades. Lin Fan nodded. The waiter's eyes immediately lit up. Ace of Spades cost 8,888 yuan per bottle. It was the most expensive alcohol in the shop. Just by selling this bottle of alcohol, the waiter would be able to get a hefty commission. While waiting for the food, Lin Fan secretly observed Qin Yuxuan. Even though it had been years since they graduated, time had not left any traces on her face. She was still as quiet and pleasant as before, and her figure had improved over the years. Overall, 95 points. Very quickly, the alcohol and food were served. Lin Fan swirled the clear alcohol in the glass, then slowly poured it into his mouth. His every move was very simple. However, they were all so elegant. It was as though Lin Fan was not drinking alcohol at all. Instead, he was like a world-class pianist who was playing a beautiful tune on stage. It was so fascinating. Qin Yuxuan, who was sitting across from him, was a little dazed. The drinking gentleman had endless charm.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and see you in the next chapter.